Alrighty. Yo, what up, Henong? How are you doing? Pizza time? So I can finally eat solid stuff again? That's nice. So... You're still waiting? Oh, okay. We were going to start with, yeah, second division, silver. This is quick play, but it's the same format as comp, although players not playing as seriously, right? Also, okay, do this, and let me also set this up. I was eating ice cream again. I hope you're not eating too much, because I think that could be bad, but who knows. I'm not a nutritionist or whatever the name is. I don't know if that is the name in English. So I'm not gonna judge stuff that I don't know. Okay, I now have the stream open on Discord. Yo, what up, Plexter? How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Alright, let me remove this. And now Overwatch. I'm a little anxious, but it's stuff that I don't want to really be talking about on stream, so I'm not gonna be talking about that. Outside of that, I'm pretty good, thank you. Thanks for asking. And it seems like people are getting the skin now. Seeing a lot of reviews of genjis with the skin, which is nice. And it turns out the battle pass is completable in a pretty reasonable amount of time. I don't think that the complaints that people had before are just like that valid now that we have experienced the battle pass, right? So for example, I'm at level 105, I think, and I didn't even play that much. Alrighty. Because I haven't heard in a while people talk about, oh, the level 55 to unlock new character. Because it seems like a pretty reasonable amount of time with all the challenges and XP you get. Flat 1 currently? Nice. You're gonna be grinding for Grandmaster again in this game? Nice. Yo, Mr. Goose, thanks for the sub. Surely after the nerf. I mean, the nerf is gonna be bad, but if you're dedicated enough, you can definitely make at least a GM as genji. Also, let me quickly check. Is this PC? Yes, okay, this is PC. I thought so, but I wanted to guarantee that it was indeed PC.
My soul burns ever brighter.
I like that you're ignoring the Sigma because Sigma doesn't have Rock anymore, so he isn't that dangerous. And you want to be fighting the Squish instead. And there you go. Now you end up accidentally running into the Rock, not really your fault there. I don't think that was. Good finish. Why am I not streaming on Twitch? Because Twitch is just a bad platform. Twitch is gonna die in a few years, if not less time than that. There are lots of reasons to be streaming on YouTube over Twitch. YouTube is just a better platform. YouTube has everything together while Twitch doesn't, right? Twitch only has the live part. Twitch doesn't have the VODs. Twitch doesn't have the shorts for discoverability, right? The clips are cool, yes, but there isn't really discoverability for clips like there is for an example in YouTube, right? Twitch is very old in their ways. Well, like, they're very okay with acting the way that they are. And a lot of the moves they're currently doing, it's like, okay, let's make the money that we can and then let's let the platform die, basically. That's the kind of move that they're making. Like, they're not really trying to compete anymore. And that might be their strategy, instead of competing to let you stream in other platforms, right? Yo, what up, Mr. Fish? How are you doing? It really depends, Fish. I would say that you should play as aggressive as the enemy team allows you to be, right? And your own smart play allows you to be. If you have an escape plan for any way that you're tackling an enemy, so for example, if you are here in this high ground and you dash engage these people and you only press W, you're probably gonna die, right? But if you dash engage these people and if you don't get a one shot and if they start damaging you through deflect, like Muriken for example, you're in danger, you can just back off, drop, and then you can play under, and then your team is here, right? You're not really gonna die for a play like that. Or you can just, for example, flank around, get close to the enemies, and instead of having to dash to them, you just walk up to them. So if you start getting low, you fuck up your shots or something like that, just turn away, dash, boom, you're gone. You're not getting punished, right? So as long as you play aggressively while playing smart, instead of just purely aggressive, then you're good to play as aggressive as you want, basically. Not completely true, because let's say in maps like Circuit Royale where the sightlines are very long, right? Let's say a sightline like this, and there isn't much cover. If you try to play up and then you try to dash out, you're still gonna have a lot of distance to cover to run away. So that's not really gonna work. So in some maps, because of the map geometry, you're not gonna be able to do such aggressive plays, but that's gonna be more niche. Usually the maps are gonna have enough cover that you can be in deflect distance, in dash distance, to cover, to stabilize from aggressive plays like that, as long as they're smart, right? The main problem is when you do aggressive plays like you do a dash engage on the enemy, and then you don't get the kill straight away, and you're committed to the kill to get away, instead of having an escape plan outside of getting the kill, right? Because then you're not only relying on you popping off mechanically, you're also relying on your opponents not outplaying you. Let's say the N that you're engaging turns around and uses nade on the ground instead of using the nade on your deflect, for example. Then you're kind of screwed, right? So that is gonna be giving you a lot of player agency. You're not gonna be relying on the enemies fucking you up. You're gonna rely on you playing very well and very smart. What up, Joseph? How are you doing? What rank is this guy? It is right below my camera. It's Silver 2. Here, there is no reason. Right, okay. You have an advantage, you just got 2 picks. Okay, you wanna climb up, contest these people. Great. You find the soldier in close range. If you want, you can even do a secondary fire dash to the ground, because then you can very quickly fall back. The main problem is, look at what you're gonna be doing. Here's the cover, close cover if you drop, right? That you can use to LOS the soldier until at least she walks to corner. Look at how far you are from cover. Look at where you are. You see the problem? If you just play close, not only are you more effective up close, you're gonna be putting more fear on the soldier. Right now she's not scared of you at this distance. But if you were up close, she would be scared of you, because then you have the potential to just one-shot her and actually duel her. And then the moment that you drop low, you instantly drop. Or you just do this. You shoot, you drop a little bit, right? You drop a little bit, LOS. Then double jump back up. The time between your shots is gonna have ran out, right? You're gonna be able to shoot again. So shoot, go down a little bit, double jump back, you can shoot again, repeat, go down, go up, shoot, go down, go up. And you know what this is doing? This is the same principle as something like this, where you peek, shoot, go back to corner, peek, shoot, go back to corner. What this is doing is dictating the rate of fire. And since Sojourn has a weapon that fires very fast while you have a weapon that fires very slowly, you don't want to be constantly picking the Sojourn, because this means that then she uses the full fire rate. While you, sure, you're gonna also be using your full fire rate, but then she's gonna be getting... You're not gonna be able to get the benefit that you could have from simply picking the only moment that you have to shoot. Because then you're forcing a fast fire rate into playing slow, which is to your advantage, because your weapon being slow fire rate means that it has more damage per shot than her weapon, right? So, if you do this, you're gonna be having a very good trade fight. Same with this, by dropping and double jumping back up, or dropping and wall climbing back up, ledge grabbing, whatever, right? So whenever you're fighting someone that has a faster fire rate than you, peak shooting is gonna be very good, and it's oftentimes gonna happen because Genji just has a very slow fire rate. So a lot of characters you wanna just be doing stuff like that, right? Cassidy, Soldier, alright, Soldier and Sojourner are gonna be like right? Cassidy is gonna shoot slower, but he's still faster than Genji, right? So you can see how much this can benefit you. Climbing solo in Overwatch 2? I climbed solo to GM too. It's very, very doable. It can be more fun to play in group, it can be more easy to play in group, but it's very, very doable to climb solo. Let's go back. This is why you die. Because if you were closer to corner, not only would you be scaring the Sojourn more, you would also be closer to cover, so that you wouldn't have the line of sight to be able to headshot you here. And you also didn't even use dash, right? Alright, while the idea behind flanking around and going behind enemy lines here is interesting, right? Look at the time it takes. So, right now, what is the fight, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the enemy. Your Ana just died, you got rezzed. Which means that there are 4 people, or never mind, did this Mercy? No. It looks like she's dead, but... Oh, never mind, she is. The beam was just a bug, okay. So you're 5v3 here, right? Going around to flank is gonna take a lot of time. You don't have that time to afford. You probably just need to try to make a play fast to try to clutch this, or set up for the next fight, or go back to your team and reset. So either try to make use of the chaos here on point to try to make a play, or you set up behind enemy lines without them knowing, right? It doesn't really matter where, but you could even hide here if you want, if the enemies don't check here. As long as you stay hidden instead of doing what you're doing, because now you're gonna die for this play, right? Or you should die for this play. Maybe you won't die for this play, but whatever. You should have. That's the wrong Genji.
My ultimate is ready. Take this.
My soul is alight.
So let's go back a little to the engagements. So you wait for your team to be here. The fact that you already have a pick on the Baby Diva makes this blade kind of questionable, but it's still very good to just clean up and get the swap fast, right? To capture the point fast and not give the enemy a good percentage. So it is definitely valid. Also I'm sped up still. I do really like the patient on the dash though. I ended up being a little confused on where Nemora went, but still very good value. you came in from an unexpected angle, so your aggressive engagements found value more easily, right? Because there was less people to focus you, or less time for them to react to be able to focus you while you were you couldn't defend yourself because you were pulling out the blade, right? You can pull out deflect, for example, you can dash, whatever. And that's a big bomb. You're still even though. Now, one quick mention. Something like this happens. You need to see who else is alive in your team. So Ana died, Soldier died, Hog died. This means that you have a Mercy alive. This is currently with both Mora and Sojourn dead for the enemy team. This is a 2v3, right? But if you play this properly with the Mercy Pocket to enable you and also the Valk to keep her alive, you can very well clutch this. What you should be doing here is just, okay, I need to help my Mercy have mobility available. Sure, she can fly on the corpses, because they're gonna have the souls because she can res, right? And she can Guardian Angel off of that. But you should also be offering a mobile points where she can Guardian Angel towards. So you should probably pick her, try to get health. This way she also doesn't have to be the one contesting point. You can do that with the pocket, right? So that would probably be better than you just trying to run for the Mega here. And then since Diva Diva bombed, right? That is something that's important for you to look to do. If Diva bombs and then you have an angle on her after she tries to remake, you can just triple headshot her, she's dead. Or double headshot dash, whatever, right? Or dash secondary fire melee combo, that's also gonna be a one shot on her. Just have to be careful not to die to the remake itself, right? Because that does 250 damage, I think. It's either 200 or 250 damage. Doesn't matter because it's a one shot either way for you, right? But as long as you don't get squished and you can try to look for the seal, getting that kill is very valuable because that means you're getting the kill on the tank for free. You didn't have to demech her for it. She used the bomb, right? Which sometimes she uses after she loses mech, but that's besides the point, right? Not very common that just Genji gets such a free kill on tank. So this is a very, very good opportunity that you should be trying to capitalize on. Oh, you try to duel him after. I would say if you're trying to duel him earlier. If you want to run, you just commit to running. You don't change midway. Like if you are trying to duel him, you, for example, climb, and then once you hit this range where he can't see you here because you're around the area of my mouse right now, the area of the capture points, right? Then you wait for him to walk in and look up, and then you shoot him from the top down, right? And then try to kill him that way with a combo, right? Secondary fire dash, and then you try to combo him. Alternatively, when you see the blade, you can just try to remember how much time it was left, right? Because Genji bladed early in the fight, so his blade should be ending. So that means that you can, for example, just stall with deflect and wait for him to be trying to pull shift his blade again, right? That's a moment where he can't do other actions such as deflect or shoot back at you, so that's just 3 shots for you to land on him, right? You also had damage advantage because you dashed through him, so you were at 200 HP while he was at 150. There is no mag anymore because you took that. So that means that you can just try to run at him and try to win from that health advantage, right? Since he used his dash to get here, from what I remember. I'll quickly check.
Score 1-0.
Okay.
Ready for battle.
If you knew what Blackwatch was up to, why didn't you stop them?
My vision was clouded by anger.
And now the world pays for your actions.
Kinga,
Okay.
we are the same.
Yes, run away from the Zarya. I would say ignore the Zarya. Especially don't shoot the bubble. Yeah, don't shoot the bubble. And you also died without even using your cooldowns, right? But what I wanted to see you do, the moment that you, okay. Right here. Okay, you see the Zarya, you start to climb. Your Hog already got a pick on the Kiriko. Ignore the Zarya, she wasted a bubble, she doesn't have energy. Just walk at the squishes. Don't bother with the Zarya, right? Or ask your team to all turn on the Zarya and punish her after the bubble because she already wasted one. Alright? So that's gonna be, even if you all focus the second bubble to destroy it fast, she's only gonna have like 40 charge, and 40 charge is, well, way less than 80 charge, right? So she's gonna hurt a lot less. So it's not worth it for you to be trying to do this. And now you're even, up one. Or actually even, never mind. Get off the respawn. But alright, even numbers wise, but up in the points. But because of the Kiriko TP, she is there already. One thing that I want you to notice about your aim here, it's not that your aim is bad, you're rushing your shots. So I want you to look at the sequence and check how many times you jump and how many times your enemies jump. Yeah, exactly. Also, what up? Smokado? Is that how you pronounce it? How are you doing? The thing with Zarya is, let's actually go back and show the Zarya POV. Right? She does more damage the more charge she has, right? So if she bubbles and you shoot it, right? 18, 35, this increases her damage up to a lot. So if she bubbles and your team ignores it, Zarya is gonna be energy deprived. She's gonna be doing way less DPS than she could be, right? If your team just completely ignores the Zarya bubbles, then Zarya isn't actually that threatening. Sure, you can't always do that, and bubbles also have the utility of, sure, maybe the Zarya doesn't get the energy because you're ignoring them, but if the team doesn't try to burst the bubble, then you might not be able to get a kill, for example. If your team is diving a backliner, and that backliner gets bubbled by Zarya and your team doesn't try to pop it to be able to kill the person, then they're just gonna be able to run away, right? But there are times where the Zarya can make it, okay, you have to decide between if it's worth, right? You have to decide if it's worth destroying the bubble or not, but in a scenario like this, there's no reason to be shooting the bubble, and now you're just feeding the Zarya energy, right? That's one reason why Winston is pretty good against Zarya, because Winston has mobility while Zarya basically doesn't have. The only thing that she can do is rocket jump, right? So the Winston just goes ahead, okay, I see a Zarya here and I see a backliner. Okay, what do? Jump the backliner, bubble them off, ignore the Zarya. If they bubble the backliner, maybe we try to burst them as a team, or maybe just ignore it, wait for my leap, and chase them, right? And then the Zarya is kind of useless. That's one reason why Winston is an interesting pick against the Zarya, right? Because he just tries to ignore the Zarya. The Zarya can do very little about Winston's, I think, 800 HP bubble, with her very small damage at like 0 energy. Alright, what I want to see. How many times, alright, first let's look at your HP. You are at full HP, more damage is just a tiny bit, now you run away from the Zarya. More damage is a little, but then she ignores you. The lowest HP that you have been so far in this fight has been 140 HP with cooldowns. So why are you jumping so much? Why are you making it harder on yourself to aim if the enemies aren't focusing you? There is no reason. Don't jump as much. Also, look at this Kiriko. Jump, jump, more jump, right? Jump, 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 right? Every time an enemy jumps, that's easy shooting, right? You just see the trajectory, You put your crosshair in the path, you shoot, right? Because your projectile, you don't aim at them, you aim where they're gonna be, unless you're very, very close range, right? Then you treat your projectiles hit scan. And that's also another thing, right? Instead of trying to just be far away and snipe people, Ninja is strongest at close range, so try to get up close and shoot them. You have deflect, you have dash, you are not really in danger, your team is there. If you are in danger, then you just dash out or deflect, right? But then you're getting way more stuff done, right? You're not trying to snipe them from afar and not really be effective. At that point, you might as well be playing something like Soldier, if you want to be playing mid-range and just spamming the enemies out. Or staying at a relatively safe range, right? In here, you kind of get your priorities just wrong. It's not your priority to go for the Genji. Genji versus Genji is very weird. Because sure, you can just try to duel the enemy Genji, but I feel like it's just not really worth it a lot of the times. Because both Genjis have good mobility, both Genjis have a good, or decent rather, brawl cooldown. In deflect where they can sustain themselves in a fight for a little bit by turning damage back at them while staying relatively safe. So it can be a very weird duel, because if you look for the duel on the enemy Genji and the enemy Genji feels like, okay, I'm starting to lose, then they just kite. And then you don't get anything done, right? So why not just, instead of going for the Genji, just, okay, I'm climbing here, I see the Sojourn, I see the Kiriko. Sojourn just use slide. She's diving solo onto your team. Just use the dash, chase her, get close range and kill her. You still have your deflect to be able to sustain yourself close range. Right? Then just go for her. And look at how much Zarya is hurting. The Zarya isn't even aiming well and she hurts a lot. Right? That's because you're trying to... The moments that you're refocusing the Zarya are the moments where she has bubble up. That's not really worth. Unless you really try to kill her. But with the Pocket of Mora and Kiriko, that Zarya is probably not gonna die with the amount of bubbles that she can put on herself. So it's just not worth attacking her at all until you kill her team. Because this means that she's gonna get high damage, she's just gonna fry your team, and then she gets grabbed and then she wins fights on her own, right?
This ends now.
It's a good deflect. Not gonna be able to get the kill though because you don't have dash to match your ability, and here you don't really have a way to escape because you didn't try running too much, right? You tried to commit for the Sojourn kill. If you just, okay, I'm gonna back because now it's unlikely for me to kill her after she slides and gets out of my LOS, then you can probably dash out and live. But here you overstayed your welcome, so that's why you get killed here. Yo, what up, Kilver? How are you doing? Yeah, here you need to try to run with that. And you, okay, you aren't gonna be able to live. That is unfortunate. You didn't properly hear her going up with the slide. And you reacted slowly to that. Now your team is dead. There is a little point in going in here. And you're just trying to live here in the high ground because the enemies can't do much about you here. Just good. Alright, have a good one, Flexter. Have a good night. Also, another thing. At this distance, not worth for you to use secondary fire. Just use your primary fire. It's just too far away for you to be landing more than one shuriken, right, with a secondary fire, which means you might as well just primary fire. Just way more effective at this distance. Your secondary fire usually should be treated as hit scan, which means that you only really want to be using it close range, because that's the range where you can realistically treat your projectile as hit scan. because the distance between you and your enemy is gonna be so small that the fact that it has speed, right? It doesn't travel instantly the moment that you shoot to the place that you shoot, right? It has a travel speed, projectile travel speed, right? It doesn't really matter because of how close you are. So those are usually the only times that you want to be using secondary fire, when you are close and can treat your enemies, or you can treat your shurikens as hit scan instead of projectile. Other than that, you usually want to be using your primary fire. Right, this engagement is a little worse than the other one on first point, because this time, sure, okay, your hog is taking the attention of them, but you are still engaging them in the front, right? Imagine what happens if this Genji shot, instead of just having shot now, he shot, or instead of having shot the moment that he did, where his shurikens are right around here, he shot you now. Look at the direction of those shurikens, right? At least these two shurikens would have hit, and this third one might still have hit. And because of your dash, what's coming first? Your head. That's just very useful for the enemies to exploit, to be able to just hit headshots and kill you during your dash, right? This is why you doing this type of engagement from the back or from the side is way better than the current engagement that you're doing right now. Because this, you can just die randomly by them randomly headshotting you while they're trying to spam the hog, right? And you were lucky that you didn't just lose half your HP to this Genji or more. Kiriko is not gonna TP and you're saving your dash. You were slow to react to the Sojourn after a kill. And it's okay. You got decent value already. Obviously you would rather get more, or at least not trade 1 for 1, right? If you get 1 kill, live, or get 2 kills and die, or something like that, right? Where you are at least up 1 from the blade. This is a moment where you want to focus the Zarya though, right? Only the Moira for heals, she is low in bubbles, her team is all focusing her. So that's a moment where you want to be helping your team focus her too. Kiriko just used TP, so you focus her. Good. Fortunately, don't respect her and deflect. When you got close, sure, you are dangerous close range. She's also gonna be dangerous.
Finally, a real sorry. Hello.
This ends.
And they're wasting ultimates, which is good for you. Because you still have a recontest.
Taking the objective.
Not much to do here. So this should be it, yes.
1. Round 3. Capture the objective.
This is our final chance. We can do this.
You cannot escape me. A sip for the punch.
You're trying to search for the Genji, but like I said before, it's not really worth it for you. And now the Moira is chasing you and denying you angles. And you ended up not doing anything. Who is your target? 15 seconds into a match you can, or into a round, you can press tab and see the enemy comp. They have a Widow. They have Moira and Kiriko, which are two very survivable supports. Genji you don't really want to do. The Zarya you don't really want to focus. So Widow is your main priority. So you should just be trying to path to her. Boom. Shoot her from the side while she's scoped in. Easy one shot, right? So just go here. Boom. Find the Widow. Walk a little bit closer, triple headshot, dash, finish, boom. She's dead. And you're good. right? Now you have an advantage, now you have a pincer on the enemy, because your team is coming in from the front while you are coming in from the back. You have your dash available, you're probably gonna have a lot of HP, if not all of it. And even if you don't get the one shot on the Widow, you're at least you're gonna be forcing a duel with someone that you wanna be dueling. And you're gonna be dueling her close range, right? Only moment that this is gonna not work really well for you is if she has her grab one, gets to run away, and still keep a lot of HP so that you can just finish her at range, right? But if you are sneaky, then this shouldn't be a problem. Now the enemies are gonna get capped first, which is bad in King of the Hill. Usually the team that caps first wins the round because of the percentage advantage, the outshard advantage, the positional advantage, right? And now you are looking for the Widow, which is good. And you are gonna get the kill on her. But it was clumsy. You know what the main mistake here is? She's unaware of your existence. Why are you rushing a shot that is awkward like this? This is an awkward angle to shoot. Close range, so this means that the small movement that she's doing actually means that she's moving a lot on your screen. This is a hard shot. There is no reason for this to be a hard shot. Just drop, look up, put your crosshair on her head, triple headshot, melee. Or come in from the side instead of climbing and making a lot of noise that way. Maybe climb up if you don't see her head, but if you do, you can just line up, triple headshot, dash, boom. Best time to use dash? It really depends because dash is a very flexible cooldown. The one thing I would recommend for you would be to watch my dash guide, right? Because I have a detailed guide that explains a whole lot about the many uses that you can use for dash. You can have for dash. Because it can be used for damage, it can be used for pure mobility. So let's say you want to just play up, aggressive on a tank like Roadhog, and then okay, I feel like I'm in danger, you dash out. Or you want to be saving your dash to be able to finish someone that is low. Or you want to be using your dash for mobility, right? There are a lot of reasons to be using it. And now, see, Zarya high energy, she just fried you. Not good. You ended up burning your dash early against a character that has 2 very good escapes. 1 the Suzu and 2 the TP. I guess the Suzu isn't really a escape, but it is going to be sustained during the fight. You don't really want to be using your dash until you see her TP so that you can follow her. And because you use the dash like that and then you were in the middle of the open, right? You were around here against the Zarya high charge, then you don't have an escape. If you were to play around cover, maybe you try to climb this and play. So then if the Zarya is around here, then you just play this area of the drum. And if the Zarya tries to walk to find an angle, then you just keep playing Ring Around the Rosie and then she doesn't get to damage you. Or you can do something where you play around these pillars and then the Zarya has trouble just lasering you. Maybe she can lob some secondary fires on the ground and splash you, but then you walk climb to avoid that too, right? But being in the open just means that you're gonna be dead to her, you just fried. You're without mobility and not playing around cover.
I would not let you fall.
Just like old times.
Right, this is something that you're doing that is what I would have said before, right? This lets you avoid enemy line of sight pretty well. Fortunately, you didn't know how to run away properly here. You should have probably just died earlier. There isn't really much reason for you to be staying here because the megas are far away. The enemies are probably going to be able to deal that tiny little bit of damage to finish you before you get there. So you should probably just have died to your enemy's point so that you could reset and respawn with your team. Because now your team is coming back to the points and you're still respawning, right? You staggered yourself. But now you're 4v4. Sojourn is low. You could even just dash engage her. I don't see why you would be changing targets to the Kiriko when the Sojourn is low in front of you. Unaware of you, you can probably just line up some shots and dash her.
This ends now.
And here, you're lost. You don't know who to target, right? You don't know who to target, and then you also rush your shots a lot, so this makes you lose or miss a lot of shots that should be easy. When enemies start focusing you, then that's more of a reason to miss shots, right? But when no one is focusing you, you just wait for vulnerabilities, wait for your shot to be lined up, then shoot. There is no use to just spamming your shots at max speed if you're gonna miss half of them, right? So just slow down. Okay, I'm gonna hit the shot. Shoot, hit the shot. Okay, I'm not confident in this shot. Don't shoot yet. If they're not looking at you, there is no reason for you to be shooting yet. There's no reason for you to be warning your enemies. Just wait for them to do something like jump so that they're vulnerable, then shoot, right? Or just wait for you to be able to acquire your target properly and then shoot, right?
Surrender to my will.
And your team is actually gonna be stalling this for a while. Okay, we're back to the fight. You're back to the fight. You saw Sojourn use her mobility cooldown. Now you saw
Never die.
Kiriko use her mobility cooldown. And Kiriko used her Suzu. So, probably try to target her, which you did. But the problem is you're playing too far away. You're playing too far away, you're trying to snipe your enemies. Now that you're closer range, look at what you're doing. But then you move a little bit further and then you're not doing anything, right? And then you're trying to spam shots again at max speed. So I would also recommend to you my... or actually no, it's not also, because I don't think I recommended you a guide before. I recommended the person in chat, right? I would recommend you my aiming guide. For you to just be able to increase your accuracy a lot by not even practicing, right? The thing about aiming that a lot of people get wrong is that aiming is not really about mechanics. Sure, mechanics are a part of aiming. Your movements, the enemy movements, what shots you take, be them hard shots or easy shots, those are all factors that you have to consider when thinking about if I'm hitting or missing a shot, right? And yet people get so focused on, okay, I'm missing my shots, I must be bad mechanically. When in reality, a lot of the shots that you're missing isn't because you're bad mechanically, you're just rushing shots when you don't need to. Just take your time, aim at the speeds that you have the skill for. Aim at the speed that your enemies are allowing you to because of their vulnerabilities, right? If your enemies aren't showing vulnerabilities and you are with your crosshair away from your target, there's no reason for you to be shooting. Give a little bit more time to flick to them, find your target, shoot, right? Like, take your time. Don't try to go for a speed that you don't have. So, this is basically just a TLDR, right? I'm just gonna recommend the aiming guide for the... It's very condensed information, right? I watched a lot of videos on aiming while researching to make that video. I basically condensed 3 hours of information in like 10 minutes. So I would really highly recommend you watch that video. That's probably gonna be doing you a lot of good. So let's see. This is the VOD, let me mark it as done. Also, I need to turn on the AC because it's too hot. Now, let's do this VOD, which is plat chew. So, silver plat. There you go. This is the VOD that I wanna be looking at. It is Midtown. Okay.
Now entering Midtown. Ready for battle. Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we're starting off on Widow.
Incoming. Defend objective A.
One thing that I would say right off the bat. Also, did I swap? Yeah, I swapped the platinum. Okay.
Objective A.
I like that you're trying to take this quick angle. As much as the risk reward for this is in your favor, right? Your spawn very close to you. Enemy spawn is very far away, right? I still don't really see a reason for you to just be spamming the shot on Genji. Because he can just deflect that shot and just headshot you. It is an unnecessary risk. As long as you're scoped in with charge, this Genji is probably gonna be deflecting out of respect. Or at least that is what I would be thinking. A lot of the times Widows just get picks on Genjis by disrespecting them and not expecting them to deflect or to react in time or whatever. I don't like having that kind of mentality because that means that I'm not having the player agency. The Genji has player agency. Because if the Genji deflects, I die. And that's on me. Right? Alright, and that's yeah. I'm losing the player agency because I'm giving him the chance to kill me, right? Instead of just being patient, holding the shots, forcing the Genji to deflect out of respect or shooting someone else, making the Genji burn the deflect out of respect, and then you can shoot. Then you have full control over the situation. If the Genji is able to snipe you because you're scoped in for a long time, right? Then you might just be trying to shoot him when you see that he's firing shurikens, right? But if you haven't really seen him try to snipe you back, if he's not really threatening you like he is, there isn't really a reason to shoot, in my opinion, and give him player agency over having the player agency yourself, right? And I do like that you turn to try to get the kill on the Ana. Unfortunately, she notices a little bit early, or earlier than you want. Again, you shoot the Genji. But yeah, Widow is gonna be a good matchup into Bastion because you can just peek shoot for a lot of damage. Try to wait for the vulnerability on the Kiriko to jump. Unfortunately, only got a body shot, but that's still a lot of pressure. And yeah, I was gonna say this, you should not be moving up there. That is too close to the Genji. Way too close to the Genji. That Venom Mine is not really gonna deter him from going for you. He's trying to make a clutch because your team already has picks, right? So if you just go ahead and put yourself in a position where the Genji can try to make a clutch play by just hard diving you, looking for that pick to try to get back the advantaging numbers, right? Or at least deny your advantaging numbers by trading and becoming even that way, you don't really have to give him that. You can just play far back and keep the pressure that you're doing and not really allow him to engage you. And if he does, maybe he has to dash, walk into your Venom Mine and not even deal the damage with the dash. So then you can just fight him close range, right? But I don't think it's worth for you to be walking up there and being greedy and giving them a better chance of a clutch. Because now the Genji got a second pick, and now your team just lost the first point for no reason, right? And that started because you fed for no reason. Yo, what up, London? How are you doing? Currently doing the other VOD, but your VOD is next. And you just got sniped, unfortunately. Maybe should have been more patient and waited for a support walk here and heal you while you were out of LOS instead of trying to cross. No, not yet, and there are a lot of people that submitted in the queue before. So I'm currently going in order of people that haven't gotten VOD reviews before and have submitted and been waiting a long time, so not yet, unfortunately. I wish I had more time, but I have to accept the fact that I'm not gonna be able to get to all VOD reviews. You would to get to all VODs and review them. What up, Regulus? How are you doing? I'm also doing good. Thanks for asking. And yeah, that Kiriko, for example, is jumping a lot, but you're not really being patient to try to just use one of those jumps and line up a free headshot, right? Now you swap to Hanzo. And not much you can do here because now they have the auto advantage, right? I'm not really gonna be entering this this stuff right now, because you already got your VOD reviews before, and I don't remember how many. I think I already did like 2 VOD reviews for you, while there are people in the queue that haven't gotten a single VOD review. So I'm gonna give preference to the people that never got a VOD review before, right? Before giving people that already got VOD reviews in the past another chance. I think that's only fair, right? And that Bastion is scary. Nice, that's good. Very good spam. Well, now you let the Winston get the Mega, which is not gonna really matter when he doesn't have Primal, but you probably can just pick him off before he gets the chance to go for the Mega, if you just go ahead and camp the only way that you can go. Right here, you see the Winston, the bubble prevents you from shooting him in this angle, right? He wants to go inside, either here or here. Here with the jump, but that's unlikely. So he's making his way here, right? He's trying to run before your team gets an angle. So just hold your crosshair on here. The moment that you think that he's gonna be walking through, you shoot, he's dead. Or the moment that you see, you shoot, he's dead, right? Because then what happens is you walk, and then you basically cover your line of sight on him with this, right? This piece of cover. You put this in front of you to basically not give you a line of sight. And then you also don't position your crosshair properly, so now you have to flick to be able to hit. And then you flick properly, but then you gave him time. When all you needed to do was stay still, put your crosshair on the door, wait. It's as simple as that to hit the shot, right? You don't have to do a crazy flick or anything like that. It's literally just being patient and putting your crosshair in the right place, right? A lot of the times aiming is about that. It doesn't have to be a crazy mechanical task. Oh, I'm gonna move my crosshair, and oh, he didn't hit that shot, I suck, right? No. He just probably didn't think the shot very well, right? Same thing that I said about the previous VOD, right? Hitting shots is not really that much mechanical and way more about other stuff. It's gonna be about knowledge. I like the angle, and you're respecting your enemies, which is good.
Surrender to my will. Expect the unexpected.
The payload progresses.
Make me proud.
I would say that you probably should be the one moving up and having your team push cards. Although you can hit shots at range, the closer you are, right, the more consistent they are. Because you have to account less for the projectile speed. Alright, have a good one, minion. Alright, one thing I would say. This really goes to show why playing the objective can be very bad in Overwatch. You just wanna fight, right? Look at how far the enemies are. Your team is trying to push up. If your team pushes up here and controls this high ground, it becomes tough for the enemy to control any space because below is bad. Then to get to the high ground, there are a lot of small chokes that your team can control. Right? A lot of small chokes that your team can control. So you probably should just be trying to control the high ground. Maybe you want to play here because you don't want to play too far up or whatever. But you can kite them, you have Sonic Carrier, you are the alpha threat. And if you see your enemies coming close and you don't want to get dived, let's say by Winston, then you start backing up preemptively. But you're probably going to be able to know when they're coming here because you're going to be able to see them from afar. Because you're going to control and you're going to see, okay, they're respawning, they're around here. Now I start to back, if I feel like my team can't hold this very well. But the position that you're taking, you're just giving them all the space for free. You're not fighting for it. Your N is in an okay position, your Genji gets forced out very early, your Mori isn't trying to control high ground, your Ryan isn't trying to control high ground, and you also aren't trying to control a good angle. Right? If you just control high ground, if you were set up on the high ground, you can probably just get a free pick when they rotate with your Sonic Arrow, for example. Or you can at least make them fight for this and have to use cooldowns to get this instead of just walk. But here you can just try to look for a dragon. You could just go here, sit here and try to look for a dragon on the high ground. This is gonna be very strong. They can't really see you to predict where you're going. The dragon is gonna zone out a pretty good amount of the high ground. And then you can use that dragon to try to have a position on the high ground because that's gonna zone people out of a region that you can walk in because you don't take damage from it, right?
There is still much I must do. You can't hide.
Ooh, that's a lot of damage.
I am doing your debt. I have a dragon.
And look at how bad this angle is. Same thing, go high ground. If your enemies are not controlling the high ground, take the high ground yourself. Right? Take the high ground yourself, and then you have a great angle on the enemies that is very hard for the enemies to contest. And you can see them coming from far away, so you can just control that and kite properly, or rather accordingly. Right? Your team is gonna get the win here by pressing Qs and by the enemy not positioning very well. But then you're not having agency over that, right? It's your enemies just having bad positions as well as you having, which means that your team actually got value out of Shatter, but if you just go low ground and the enemies stay high ground, you're kind of screwed, right? And you didn't make an effort to position yourself properly.
30 seconds remaining.
That's fine because then you can just deflect and disengage as needed. An interesting attempt to try to force cooldowns and maybe get a one shot. That's pace too, right? Which you achieved with that engagement, you forced them out of that space. I wouldn't really focus the Ripper because it has Fade. I would just probably go for the Ana instead. You do force his Fade, but look at how much more effective it is for you to just go for the Ana instead. And now you find the cure cooldown to her cooldown, so you just get her too. Right, and then you cut their sustain by doing that.
The payload progresses. My ultimate is charging.
A taste of poison.
And here again, look at how much time you're spending without really doing anything. Right? You just wanna fight. Why is your whole team here? Sure, you can control your team, but you can control yourself, and with deflect and dash, you're very flexible to take an advanced position, a forward position, and then just back out as needed. So walk up, try to take this high ground, or take this high ground, or something like that to be set up for the next fight. Maybe the enemies just walk in and try to contest you close, so if you position here, boom, you drop, you have your dash, you have your deflect, you have full HP, and then you have a surprise factor. You just get a duel with someone in the backline, and if you fuck up, you dash out, right? That is amazing, you don't have to dash in. There is no reason for you to just win a fight and stay payload and not try to take positioning.
My ultimate is charging.
Right, you have 5 people payload. That is a waste. You probably should have just only 1 person payload.
60 seconds remaining.
Cannot escape me.
Now Genji forces you out. I would say that you can probably try to duel that Genji. Yeah, this was bad. You're gonna be getting 1 kill. And it was actually a very good animation cancelled to help damage the Reaper. But that was very awkward. First, I would say, when the Genji dashes you aggressively here, what is his escape plan? Deflect and walk back. But it's still, your team can try to punish him. More being able to damage him through deflects. Your Ana can try to splash a nade on the ground or on a wall, right? You have the dash for 50 guaranteed damage on him, and then you can try to have a follow-up on his back while he doesn't turn, right? Doesn't react in time. So you can try to punish that Genji, right? Because he is just very much overextending. Then on the Nano Blade you should not be using your dash that early. Especially on someone that you don't know if they have their cooldown. And since Kiriko ulted, that means that their cooldowns are gonna replenish fast, so even if that Genji used dash, which he did, he just got his dash back and just ran away. And basically wasted your entire Nano Blade for 1 kill, right? And you probably could have just gone for other targets, like Ana, which can sustain herself only with nade, and doesn't have real mobility, right? But this somehow works out for your team. And here there is no reason to be using secondary fire. Look here. Small choke. Look at the secondary fire. 1 shuriken on this wall, 1 shuriken on this wall, 1 shuriken going through and maybe hitting your target. Why are you using secondary fire in this distance? I don't know. This is just free spam with your primary fire. This is not a range where you want a secondary fire. And the Genji gets bubbled, you don't dash on time, and your team didn't properly position. Also, your team over-ulted in the last, or rather, ulted to win the last fight, so it is a little bit tougher for your team to just win this if they have ults. Still a good push, but yeah.
Complete. Ready for battle.
My ultimate is charging.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
I would say that this is fine for now, considering Midtown playing high on is kind of bait, and there isn't really too much of a way for you to be setting up for aggressive plays here. This is just fine. And this is questionable, and you're dead. You're dead. That is just a big no-no. If you want to do that, think about this. Walk in, use your deflect as needed to walk up, dash out. Or you're up here, you walk climb, you drop behind your enemies. Boom, you're close range with your dash. If someone like the Zarya starts spraying you, dash out. You can't ever do a dash like this into a high charge Zarya without a bubble from your team, without your team hard diving with a windstorm or something like that. That is just suicidal. You don't even have a good target to go for to try to get a kill. So this just throws first points. Or at least should be throwing first point. Because now your team is gonna get wiped slowly. You can maybe retake, but realistically you're just gonna be hiding and trying to live, giving them points. And because the fair overextends, you might get a retouch, but then you trying to touch. Still gonna be rough, even if the fair killed, still rough for your team to be trying to recontest here, right? So that death, that very bad risk reward that you took, trying to dash in, was really not worth it. If you wanna do an aggressive play like that, just rock climb, go over the this area. I don't know if this is a subway, a train, or whatever. Right? You go over this piece of geometry, drop on your enemies, and then you can dash out as needed. Right? Now you're back, your team is not even because your fire, or their fire just got a pick, and now their genji also got a pick. They're using Kirkle, so you're trying to run. You need to just be hard running here. This Zarya is carry close range, and now you're staggering. You didn't find a good opportunity to try to get a kill there, to try to make this worth, to have a good recontest. So engaging here is bad. You should just be hard cutting so that you don't die.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Or alternatively, one cool thing that you could have done when you saw 4 players pushing up, right? The Zarya, the Pharah Mercy, and the Genji. You just walk cart. Maybe you walk cart by going inside here and dropping, and then you contest cart and have a 1v1 on cart with the person pushing. And then if you die, you died stopping payload, so that stagger doesn't really matter. That's something cool that you could have done instead. That would probably be the best thing that you could have done if you want to try to look for an aggressive play instead of resetting with your team. Now I have to retake into enemy territory, and now they're controlling high ground like you didn't. So this is a little tougher for you to contest, but since a lot of people are still low ground, it isn't as bad.
My blade is ready to be unleashed. Your fate.
Unfortunately, you end up wasting the dash on the Faria that died to just one swing, but I do like the intention to try to combo the blade with the Orisa pole. And it's also important, even if you overhold to hold it's important to stop the snowball, right? Because the enemies just won every fight up until then, and your team was staggering, so it's good to try to go and hold this position, especially because this position is very strong. Good kill on the Faria. Positioned very well. You were close to the Faria, you punished her for it. Nice. Purple kite back. Having some trouble with the geometry. One thing I would say, if you're having trouble with wall climb, try to look for what is causing the issue. In this case, what is causing the issue? This. You're hitting your head here. So walk up a little bit to the side, wall climb. Or if you think that, okay, I can't because I'm trying to wall climb here, and then I don't have wall climb for this wall because I already burned it. Then jump, double jump, then wall climb here, and then you're on the top, right? And on this height, you can probably just jump, double jump, ledge grab into your top. If you even needed the ledge grab, but I think you do. Right? There is no reason for you to be struggling with the wall climb and then not trying to find out why, or trying to change your approach, right? You just repeat it a lot of the times. And now the enemies are getting good position while you're not really preventing them. Good, trying to punish the Genji. Unfortunately miss your shots, but you had the right intention. If you're Pharah dead, you probably need to be looking for a play. I think that if you dash earlier, you can probably kill that Pharah. But I think that's gonna be this point. I don't think that Doris is gonna be able to stall much longer. Yeah. With your Pharah getting picked like that, you probably need to look to try to make a play. Try to position aggressively. Maybe get a pick on the Mercy, that would be huge because that prevents them from rezzing. If you get a pick on someone else, then they can do something like bubble the Mercy and then she rezzes. And you have very little to do to prevent it.
My ultimate is ready.
Good. Try to fight the Pharah. Although I would say, who's gonna contest you in this high ground? Right? Maybe the Genji, maybe the Pharah. Characters that you can very well just deflect. Not the Zarya is low ground. So after you try to dash and go for the Pharah, land on the high ground. Control this area. Make them fight for it. If you get low, if you start losing, then you back out. You have support from Mariana at range too, to be able to sustain yourself in the high ground. You have good cover to play around. You can just stay here, jump from one side to the other, or drop, double jump back, and then you're back up. Try to stall in behind cover, or you can jump, drop, walk, climb, double jump, back, right? Many things that you can do.
My blade is ready to be unleashed.
Because now you're just giving them free space. If you are set up aggressively, you don't even need to do this dash. If you are sitting here, you just drop when the Pharah is around here. You can just try to kill her by shooting close range. You don't even need to be stalling in the air because you can just shoot, go back to the high ground, and then you permanently have close range shots into the Pharah because you have a high ground position to hold. And then here you don't have to use this dash like this. You can just use this dash to try to look for a one-shot combo on the Mercy, for example, or the Kiriko, or for cooldowns, right? On the Kiriko would be interesting because you probably force the Suzu early, or the TP, or both, right? And then you can just follow your enemies with the blade. This isn't bad, but this could be better, right? If you were positioned there on the high ground. And now you immediately use dash. You use dash when the Mercy valks and has mobility cooldown to outplay you. You need to be saving the dash to outplay their cooldowns, right? What can they do to prevent you? What can the enemies do to make your blade not work? Let's see. Mercy can fly away. Kiriko can TP plus Suzu, and the Suzu can apply to every single character. The Zarya can bubble, and it applies to every single character. The Genji has deflect and dash. The Pharah can fly, the Pharah can boop, the Pharah has a burst of mobility upward. So those are all things that you have to consider when blading. And then you just dashed, pulled out blade, dashed immediately. You didn't look to outplay a single thing, no cooldown was used before, right? Because you're just starting the fight with this. You're not waiting for the enemies to engage or is it to go in, draw cooldowns out, and then you engage. You're trying to start the fight with the Nano Blade, right? So you need to be looking to outplay these cooldowns. Okay, I forced out cooldowns early, right? Yeah, what up, Ryu? How are you doing? So, for example, one of the main reasons why I like you setting up on the high ground first, right, and then dropping, is because then you can dash, try to look for a combo, like I said, try to look for a one-shot on the Kiriko. If you one-shot her, you don't have to be worrying about her TP or her Suzu. You can also just, if you try to one-shot her, maybe the Zarya panics and bubbles the Kiriko while the Kiriko uses Suzu. Those are two very important cooldowns that you have just forced out. And then you swing, get this Kiriko low, she doesn't have Suzu. The Zarya can't bubble her anymore because for 2 or 2.5 seconds, I don't remember the delay between bubbling an ally twice. Then she TPs, you dash to follow the TP, you finish her. Now I have a kill, now you can look for someone else. Or if you look for the Mercy, you get close, you swing her. Okay, she's flying away, where is she flying away to? Oh, here. Then you dash her. Kill, right? You need to be looking to outplay these cooldowns. You can't just go YOLO and hope that your enemies don't outplay you. Because then you're losing the player agency, right? You're giving your enemies the power of whether or not your blade gets value instead of controlling it all yourself by playing smart and playing around their cooldowns and baiting cooldowns, right? If you just do an engagement like this, sure, you might get value sometimes by your enemies just not being able to outplay you, but the times that your enemies outplay you, you don't get any value, and you don't wanna do that. You wanna give your enemies the power to do that. You wanna have that power yourself, right? You get rezzed, and your team is actually winning this, which is interesting. At least makes up for the fact that the Nano Blade was bad. Especially because now you get farm some charge off of it, but not ideal from the Nano Blade, right? And I feel like the biggest mistake for the Nano Blade, actually no, the biggest mistake for the Nano Blade is the wasted dash, but the second biggest one is positionally not staying in this high ground, like I said before. Yo, what up, Duck Duck? How are you doing? Also, if you want a cool spot in this map, here. You can just stand here, you're basically out of LOS from everyone. Maybe the Fair can look at you because you can fly, but outside of a Fair or an Echo or someone that can fly in or wall climb up here, right? This is a spot that most enemies won't check or won't know about, and then this gives you a very interesting drop and try to assassinate someone, right? Same idea as here, but just in a way better position. Way better, way less likely for your enemies to be able to see you. And again, look at your positioning. You didn't try to look for an assassination, and after you're back, you're not holding a good position, you're just backing and vaguely spamming the enemy. You should be trying to look for a position like this. This is a very strong position for Genji. High ground is very good for setup, usually for any character, but for Genji, especially in this case, right? Just like a Winston that wants to, for example, drop and save the jump to get out instead of jumping in a lot of the times. The Genji can also do that, but he is more threatening than the Winston. He's gonna be more stealthy than the Winston, right? So you should be looking at a position like this and being like, that's free real estate. My enemies aren't contesting here. This is really good for me to be able to contest the Fair if I want, to drop assassinate someone. This is such a powerful position, such a powerful, flexible position, right? Because it allows you to do many things, it isn't really risky for you to hold it, it's just perfect. You just want this position, you want it all the time. And you're not using it. Fortunately, actually maybe yes, you get the kill on the Mercy because you got completely split. And now I finished the backline off, good. First run from the Zarya, respect her, I like that. You can also, if you're trying to run from the Zarya, just walk along the high ground. And then she can't really go to the high ground, it magically floats, right? And again, you're not trying to use the high ground. You're just trying to spam from an awkward angle. And you see how little this bothered the Rhine? The Rhine died to Barrage, right? Let's see how much damage you did to the Rhine. Let's see how much damage you did to the Rhine. Shoot him twice, shoot him 3 times. Let's look at his HP. He has 558 HP. He swings you once, right? Swung you once. He already took 85 of your health, which is basically half of your HP, while you took like less than 100 of his HP, which is like less than 1/6 of his HP, right? It's just not worth it for you to bother with this. When they're running a Rhine, sure, the Zarya also can't just magically float, like, right? The Rhine and the Zarya can't magically float to high ground, but the Zarya at least has range while the Rhine doesn't. So there's even more reason for you to be playing the high ground, so that the Rhine can swing at you. And you immediately get forced out by the Rhine. Immediately. Because you can't face tag him. And if you were in the high ground, that doesn't happen. Oh, that's a deadly slip. Nice.
My ultimate is ready.
And focusing the Rhine isn't gonna be doing you much because he's just so tanky. If you just try to focus the Rhine, he's just gonna be getting free space. The Mercy just over aggroes, which is good for you. And with Mercy dead, it is time for you to be looking for a play like this. And this is very unfortunate. This is very unfortunate. Although I would say, why go for the Cassidy when you saw the Soldier here? I would have gone for the Soldier personally. Also, the Cassidy has a magnetic grenade that sticks to you and deals 131 damage. If you're trying to do an aggressive play like you are on the Cassidy, right, where you dash and get close to him and then you pull out the blade, you can't even deflect it. So either you just dash engage him, deflect preemptively, then he panics and uses the magnetic grenade on your deflect and then you pull out the blade, or you try to pull out the blade somewhere safe, right? Maybe you dash through him and hide and pull out the blade here, then you peek again and go for him. But like that engagement, he shoots you once and sticks you, which isn't that hard. While you're pulling out blade close range, you're instantly dead. And you have the advantage because you just killed Mercy. You don't have a rush to contest the payload right now. The payload still has a decent amount to run. You can just wait for a Rhine to go in, take some fire, take the cooldowns from the enemy, take their attention, and then you go in. Or you just instantly look to punish the soldier that is far up. Focus him. There isn't really too much of a reason for you to be engaging this Cassidy. Or this Kiriko here. Or this Rhine, obviously. Because then you'll just be blading a tank and that's pretty useless. You might as well be shooting shurikens at the tank, and shooting shurikens isn't very effective. So just go for the soldier. Or just wait for your Rhine to push, right? Because right now, you might be up a player, and even with your Reaper feeding, you're even because they're Mercy fed. But because of your engagement, look at this. You have 1, 2 players looking at you. Sure, your team has a lot of players looking at the Rhine, but the Rhine is tanky. The Rhine can do this. You are not tanky, and what's gonna happen? You're just gonna die. Sure, you could have actually gotten value if you didn't get lost. But that doesn't mean that the play was good, because you could have gotten value from it, right? And now it goes from the enemy fed, you have a good chance of holding, to the enemy now has the number advantage and the space advantage, and we don't really have good ultimates. And your Mercy died with Falk, which isn't really under your control, but what was under your control was the blade. And that blade would have probably guaranteed that you would have won that, if you were just patient, like I said, right? So that's gonna be this VOD review. I would say positionally, this is like the most important. Alrighty. I'm gonna do that after stream then, Ryu. Also, thank you again for... I don't remember if I thanked you. If I didn't, I'm thanking you now for the edit. For this, I think that the biggest thing to take away from it is just positionally. A lot of the times you are ignoring the very powerful position here. A lot of the times you're playing too far away to be getting good value with your secondary fire and you're using it. Maybe you just use your primary fire at those distances, but right? You just need to understand better like what positions to hold this Genji. Because you are good mechanically to be able to make those aggressive plays. You just need to be setting yourself up for those aggressive plays better. To be able to go for more of them and do those aggressive plays in a safer manner, right? So that's gonna be very, very important. And I would say it should be your priority. Alrighty, have a good one, Ryu. Thanks for stopping by. Let me mark this VOD review as done. We have one more for today, which is gonna be Silver Chew. So let's go back to Silver. And all of these were second divisions, yeah. So I didn't even have to change that. Nice. Chat, am I dumb? Did I just do this whole VOD review without the division showing up? Did I just Pepega that? I think I might have just Pepega'd that. Oh no, never mind, it was showing. Okay, then Pepega that. Okay, silver, second division. Let me do this. Let me do this. And... okay, nothing urgent for me to check. So let me go back. This is the only other VOD that I have on my replay, so this is gonna be Paraíso. 10-minute match. Alright, we can do this one relatively fast. I think 10 minutes. I don't think I need to take a break for water right now. I don't feel like I need it. I would guess it is London, yes, it is.
We will be the lightning that rises the storm.
So to finish it up, have this VOD, Silver 2 Paraíso, new map. We had Midtown, which was new map. What was the first review? First review was Busan. Okay, Busan wasn't a new map, but... so,
The formula is
2 new maps, should be pretty good. Not just for the players getting reviewed, but also for for other players to be able to learn these maps a little bit better. And I wanna make map guides for all of the maps, especially for the new maps. But I feel like I still wanna just learn Overwatch 2 a little more before I start making those. Cause I feel like we have yet to figure out a lot of things, right? Like before, people thought that Zarya was an uncounterable beast, when in reality Winston is actually a pretty good matchup against her, right? So I feel like we still have a lot to learn before we start looking to do these things. Although I do think that I don't need to make an ideal map guide. I can always just make a map guide, maybe it's a little bit wrong and then I update it later, right? But I don't think that I currently feel too comfortable doing map guides for the new maps at least, which I feel like are the highest priority in the map guides. How can you send your replay? Type exclamation mark VOD review in the chat. That should bring up a command from the bots, Stream Elements bot. If the bot isn't here, then we can... then I can give you more information, if the bot doesn't provide that information to you. Nice, I like that you're grabbing high ground. And there, that is a wasted deflect. Why? The Symmetra isn't charging her secondary fire, and you should know when she's charging because you can see it. And that's the only thing that you can deflect in this high ground, outside of more orb, right? But she's not using it. The other things, right? Primary fire for the Symmetra or Moria are both gonna be damaging you through your deflect. So there isn't really a reason for you to be deflecting. And they're also kind of rushing shots that you don't need. Okay, you go high ground, you are full HP. If the Symmetra isn't looking at you, why are you panicking like this? You still have half HP, you still have dash to run away. Sure, you can just preemptively back, but you just misuse your time against that Moria because, oh, it's a Moria, I'm gonna lose on a close range duel with her. Alright, I'm gonna lose a duel with her, right? That is definitely a mentality that is very possible for you to have. Because a lot of people think that Moria counter Genji because in low ranks Moria does very well against Genji, right? When, for example, in high ranks, Moria is barely played because, well, she just is outclassed by other supports like Ana, like Bap, right? But you don't have to rush. You need to remind yourself that Moria is can't really increase her DPS with more skill. She has a cap for her DPS. And that cap for her DPS isn't very high. So you can just walk, get up close, trying to land some good shots. If you get low, dash out, stabilize with your team. But you don't have to be playing like you were scared, rushing your shots. Just walk up to the Moira, shoot her, or walk up to the Symmetra, shoot her. Both of them were low damage, right, because the Symmetra didn't charge her beam yet. And then you dash out as needed. Or you drop as needed, right, whatever. But okay, Bastion is left. Alright, find the turrets. So now you line up shots to destroy the turrets, good. And now you have enough angle on your enemies. And now you find the Bastion hiding in the corner, and that's a good pick. And see? You didn't panic, you hit some good shots, you got the kill on the Bastion with a good angle, and you just dashed out. That's perfect, right? And that distance, don't secondary fire, just use your primary.
Booting up.
I like that you're looking for the Lucio, then you dash out of respect, which is good. You could have deflected too, but I do really like the dash there. And you're saving the deflect. Actually, because the deflect doesn't necessarily get you out of the room if they body block you, right? Now, the enemy got back and your team didn't manage to grab space in time, which is unfortunate, but you did do well yourself at the start, right? You looked for an angle, got the pick on the Bastion, now you even get the pick on the Genji that overextends. I like this dash engage because you can just back out as needed. Good, you saved the dash for their mobility. It's gonna be a 3k, or basically a 3k. That should guarantee you this point. And I would probably just have dashed the Lucio just whenever I could, right? Because that's just 350 damage. Lucio can sometimes be very hard to hit with his movement, so just dash him and do 1/4 of his HP for free. Ooh, that's a very good sleep.
Escort the payment.
Nice.
Nerf this. Be careful.
One thing that I like is that you're not dying for no reason. One thing I dislike is that you don't really understand the tempo of Overwatch. But that is probably because of not being too used to Overwatch yet, right? I would guess that you are a newer player. I would guess that you are a newer player. But one thing that I'm gonna say, right? Their comp doesn't really have much to go to the high ground. So just go to the high grounds and you can set up that way. Instead of having to walk main and dealing with a lot of beams like Symmetra, like Moira, just take a high ground. Take a high ground, right? Or walk and take a high ground, right? And then just go ahead, drop your inner enemies, and boom, you're close range to them, you can do dash throughs, assassinations, whatever, right? You're in their backline without having to use a cooldown while having full HP. So just having to try to walk through the beams. With their Moira dead, I feel like dashing that Genji is pretty worth. Especially with him just having used both his cooldowns very aggressively. Oh yeah, you definitely want to be dashing this Genji. I would just have dashed this Genji already. That's half of the HP that he was currently missing. Yeah, I would definitely have just dashed that Genji. That Genji should never have ever gotten this out of never gotten away with this. Bleeding at half HP, you not dashing to try to follow him when he has no cooldowns, you not trying to dash for the guaranteed 50 damage when he can't really run away, right? But it's good, you're trying to deny him this powerful position. And sure, you're gonna be missing some shots, but your intention is correct, right? And this time you do the dash, and this time you basically punish him, right? Oh, there you go. Yeah, so the bot finally answered a command for once. Oh, unfortunate. If you're gonna be doing a play like that, that is a very good engagement if you wanna try to cancel beat. But if you wanna try to cancel beat, you need to really try to cancel beat. You need to be as fast as possible, which means swinging and cancelling that swing right after it deals damage with your dash, right? And then one-shotting the Lucio mid-air. Because what happened was...
60 seconds.
Look at Lucio. Look at Lucio's HP. He dies to a swing, he's in the... Alright, he dies to a dash, he's in the middle of there. If you do this dash, you cancel his ultimate. That would be huge. But you don't do that. You just try to go for a second swing. And now the enemy team is hard focusing you, right? And then you could have still gotten kills. Because beat doesn't fully counter Nanoblade. Right? Because then you can just keep swinging, dealing damage and waiting for the beat to decay. Look at his HP. One swing and then waiting a little bit and then he's half of normal HP. And then he dies to a swing. But then you use your dash early. I would have just stayed up there, swung, deflected to be able to not get damaged by someone like Diva, Lucio, right? Wait a little bit, cancel the deflect, swing, dash to the ground, swing again, kill the Lucio or kill the Symmetra, doesn't matter. Or you save the dash for a boop that Lucio does, right? But be patient with that swing, or rather with that dash after they beat, because you need that dash to outplay cooldowns and to add burst to the end. If you try to add that burst to the start when they still have a lot of beats, that beat is getting value. But if you save that dash for when the beat wears out, then you're gonna be getting good damage on their actual HP instead of the overhealth. So even if you fuck up that one shot on the Lucio, you still have a chance to get good value. You can probably get 1-2 kills. They're stacked. You kill the Lucio by doing what I said. Then after that you can get another swing to be able to do another swing dash swing on the Symmetra, and then your blade ends. Then you get two picks and they waste an ultimate, right? But then you decide to dash here, and then you try to walk up into the enemy when you're low, not deflects, and then yeah, then that doesn't work. So a lot of ways that this could have worked, but end up not happening. But the intention was correct, you just missed one very crucial part, which was cancelling the swing with the dash. And trying to use the dash to finish them, right? And I like this. Now you decide to use this high room, take this angle, and look at this. The enemies can't really contest you very well. They aren't even aware of your existence for a while, right? Now you have your dash and you can drop on your enemies, if you want. Because the thing is, if you just keep poking, and it's good now that you get out after they deal good damage to you, right? But if you just keep poking like that, you are not dealing much against true AoE healers. But if you drop and get close to the Symmetra and then save your dash to run away, then you're doing a lot more. Genji is way more effective close range than his long range, right? So you should be trying to look for that. You properly set yourself up in a powerful position. Now when you get your dash back, drop on someone like the Symmetra, try to look for that kill, and then you have your dash to either finish her off or dash out if you need, if you get low, right? And also, if you don't know, you can deflect to prevent the Genji damage from going through, right? You can deflect to parry melee damage. So melees from any character, so Genji melee or whatever character melee, right? Because all characters are melee. Primal punches, Reinhardt swings, Dragon Blade swings, right? The most important thing to learn is Genji pathing. I would just probably say that. because a lot of the things that you have to learn a lot of things, right? But if I had to say one topic, that would be pathing, right? Because sure, obviously you need to learn to be able to shoot with his projectile, you need to learn to use his dash, you need to learn to use his deflect, right? You need to learn to do all of these things. But if I just say, okay, the most important thing is for you to learn the basics, so you at least have the basic, I feel like that is questionable. I feel like the most important skill, and a skill that most Genji players don't learn, is pathing. And I have a guide on that for people that want to watch. And that's what I would recommend this player too. That's what I was gonna get at when this review ended. Watch my pathing guide, and that's probably gonna help you a lot to set yourself up for more aggressive plays, because the moment that you did it, doesn't matter if it was on purpose or on accident, right? Because it goes to show the power. You got to this high ground, you walked here, you took this bridge when the enemies were holding under here. You had an angle of the bastion, you killed him, you dropped on your enemies, dealt good damage, that's back to your team because you weren't committed, you didn't dash in, you dashed out, right? That shows the power of pathing. While instead if you dash in, then you can be screwed very easily, right? But with pathing you can make a lot of these plays that you want to look to do have no risk reward, or have no risk, but keep the reward, because you're going for the same play as you would if you dashed in, but instead of dashing in, you're saving your dash to dash out if you need, right? And having the dash available to finish them. I like to say that pathing properly is setting yourself up for success, right?
1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Together.
Actuating the barrier.
Enemy contact.
Probably want to be holding high ground instead of low ground. Might be able to get the Lucio. I would guess that is a moment where you can look for the dash. You want to try to look for the Lucio. He got healed fast, so I don't think that he would have died, but then you dash, you don't get the kill, immediately deflect out, you have your Ana to heal you, or you can deflect out, try to walk up until around here, right? And then you can walk, climb, and get to the high ground, and then make it hard for your enemies to finish you, right? In fact, you probably should just be playing high ground's default. Why? Because you can just drop to low ground. You can also just do something like this, where you drop, shoot, double jump, go back up, drop, shoot, double jump, go back up, right? While in the low ground you have to waste time grabbing, wall climbing and then going back to the high grounds. Here you waste less time, and doing something like this means that you can just peek shoot. It's not the usual peek shoot where you laterally strafe, right? You're vertically strafing back and forth between cover and not cover. Yo, what up, Master Kato? How are you doing? Exclamation mark VOD review. The bot should answer you. It seems like the bot is in chat this time. If the bot doesn't answer you, I can give you the answer. But let's see if the bot answers you or not. Exclamation mark VOD review. Yo, what up, Dojo? How are you doing? Left without dash, that's probably because you're using dash too early. You're not saving your dash to try to outplay cooldowns, right? Yeah, there you go, the bot answered. So, like I talked about in a previous VOD, you need to, when you're blading, you need to be looking, what can the enemies do to you? So, right now we're this Genji, right? Let's say we're blading into Lucio, Moira, Symmetra, Genji, and D.Va. The Genji can parry your swings with his deflect, the Genji can dash away, the Symmetra can TP, the Lucio can speed boost, the Lucio can boop, the Lucio can wall ride, the Moira can fade, the D.Va can fly, and the D.Va is tanky, so you probably don't want to go for her. So how do you play this? Well, if you want to go for the Moira, you probably need to be saving your dash to follow up after she fades. The Lucio, you need to be saving the dash for after he boops, right? Those are things that you have to be keeping in mind when you blade. Also, if you want more in-depth details on blade, I have a blade guide that I would highly recommend you check out. Yo, Sasha, thanks for the sub. Welcome. one thing I don't like here is how little you're doing. Look at the distance that you're playing. Right? Okay, your Pharah gets destroyed. Then there is the D.Va close range. Okay, maybe need to deflect her. But look at your positioning. This positioning makes it very easy for your enemies to focus you. Right? So what if you were in this high ground? Then you shoot this Genji in the back. The D.Va is focusing on the people on the low ground, so the D.Va wouldn't be focusing on you. The Lucio is also focusing on the people low ground. The Moira is also on the low ground, right? This means a very safe position that allows you to set up and drop on your enemies, right? Low ground, or rather high ground, is usually very, very good. Use more high ground. Better to send wins or losses? It doesn't really matter. I think the thing that matters the most in a VOD review is that you feel like you played well and the game was close. If you feel like you played well and you stomped, there's probably very little to do. If you feel like you played well but you got stomped, there's also probably very little that we can learn from that match. But if you feel like you played well and the match was close, then there is probably a lot of things that you can learn from that match. So those are probably the best matches. Close matches where you feel like you played well. So I would say a position like this is way better because it's, one, it sets you up better, like I said before about pathing, and two, this also makes you safer. Also, learn the maps. You are right beside a mini. Also, if the D.Va is focusing you like that, the D.Va does a lot of damage close range, so you probably should be using your deflect here, not get burned by her. And then you back up to the mini and then you are full HP, and sure, you have lost your deflect, but for the position that you are playing, that is very reasonable for you to do. I don't think that Genji is an S tier hero right now. That's the thing. I feel like a lot of players are misjudging him. Just because Genji fits the current meta, quote unquote, doesn't mean that Genji is forcing the meta. Doesn't mean that Genji is broken. Just means that he works well. He is a very flexible hero and he works very well in 5v5. But currently, people are starting to learn to play better against him. So even without any changes, without any nerfs or balance changes, right? People are starting to get better at playing against Genji. Genji is one of the most counterable heroes in the game, which make me feel like the Genji nerfs are stupid. Also, the Genji nerfs that they're going with are stupid. I would much rather see other things done to him, such as, for example, removing the ability to manually cancel his deflect, right? I feel like that would be a way better change than changing his ammo and damage. But whatever, right? I think that these Genji nerfs going through, he will become pretty hard to get good use of. Like, on the low ranks, there's a lot of margin for error, right? So you can play very bad and still get away with it, right? It's not like you're gonna be making a mistake in top 500 and instantly get punished for it, right? But at the same time, because you're making all of those mistakes, you're not getting max proficiency. But if you do manage to get good proficiency out of him, you're still gonna be finding good value. Just gonna be harder to get that value. And that skill to reward ratio that's gonna change with this less ammo and less damage are going to be making it so it's not gonna be really worth learning him. You're probably just gonna rather go ahead and pick something like Reaper and doing the pathing like Genji and just assassinating the backline for free. And there's strafing out if you need, right? Instead of trying to land all your shots on Genji. If you miss one, they don't die, right? Yo, what up, cowboy? How are you doing? And I'm glad to hear that. That makes me happy. But I don't really like the current ideas for changes for Genji. And also, one thing that you're doing now, again, imagine if you deflect and save that HP and then pick the minion your full HP. Now you're in the fight. But in the current way, you can't really engage and do anything because you're very, very low. Sure, you can poke a little bit, but Genji's poke is pretty meaningless a lot of the time. Also, here's a Mega. Another one that you missed. right? It's very, very important to learn the positions of health packs in the map. And just the maps in general, right? How the map geometry works. I'm not gonna be calling you that. What are the Genji nerfs? Ammo from 30 to 24, damage from 29 to 27. Those are the nerfs. They are supposed to come out on the 15th of November. Yes, I do VOD review console players, Kyle. Also, how are you doing?
Objective lost. Stop the payload.
The barrier appeared.
Taking off.
Symmetra, you're not gonna get to punish her because of the DP, but you were close to being in time there to be able to punish her. Also, maybe if your team calls it out, you can dash and finish her, right? I'm doing well, thanks for asking. And you just got fried by the turrets, which happens. You're kind of low already, so that's tough. One thing that you can do, with 29 damage shurikens, and if the changes go through 27, right? The turrets have 30 HP. So in a situation like this, you're better off just dropping, meleeing the turrets, and going back high ground. Or meleeing the turrets and further dropping like you were, right? Because the melee does 30 damage. So the melee perfectly kills turrets. You don't have to land more than one shuriken per turret. And since they're grouped up, the melee is gonna destroy them all, right? So you take minimal damage, get rid of all the turrets, and don't even use ammo. And yeah, this is gonna be it for this VOD. Even though this was very one-sided, I still think that there is good things to learn. I feel like the main thing that you need to work out on is pathing, like I said before. Watch the pathing guide, work on that, and that's gonna, and also the positions of health packs in the maps. Those would have helped a decent bit there. Not crazy amounts, but that I feel like is something that's gonna be useful because I think you're a new player. Or at least those maps are new to you, I don't know. I'm just assuming, right? But yeah, the main thing is gonna be pathing. And with that, I think I'm gonna call this a stream. Live for almost 2 hours, we did 3 VOD reviews. Let me mark this VOD review as done. So the 3 VOD reviews, pretty happy with these reviews. Let me actually just swap this back. What rank am I at right now? Currently 435. So let's swap this to this, and or rather this to top, and then I am top 435. Let's put this more in the middle. There we go. Top 435. That's the current rank. But yeah. You can switch if you want. You don't need to feel forced to just play him, but also trying to stick to him to be able to learn how to play against tougher matchups. So for example, learning to play against Mei. A lot of people feel like Mei is very good against Genji, and sure, she can zone him out close range, but if you play smart and if you path right, for example, then you're gonna be close range, and then you can dash out. While if you just dash in, then the Mei just absolutely destroys you. Then you have no way out because she slows you down, right? And shoots you through the deflect. But a lot of matchups are way more neutral than people think, and that requires a little bit of knowledge on the hero, right? So I would recommend trying to learn a little bit more on maybe death matches, right? One thing that I would recommend players do, for example, is go into custom games, go into stuff like... Wait, this is the wrong one. Need to do this. Go here, type Aim Arena, and join the lobby, right? Or type tryhard FFA. These are usually gonna have players that are like tryharding a lot. So usually those are gonna be higher ranked players trying, well, tryharding, right? And this should be good practice, right? Oh yeah, I'm on 260 MS.
Enemy needs 4 kills to win.
But see, right? I fought an Echo, I'm fighting a Sojourn, I fought a Genji, right? This is gonna give you good practice against a lot of different matchups, and very fast, right? Because you just respawn, I'm fighting someone else. I respawn, I fight someone else, right? I'm respawning, I'm fighting someone else. And I just do this quickly, right? It's way better than trying to practice in actual games because there's way less punishment for you to just dying, because you just respawn instantly, there are no stakes, and also you're gonna be doing that faster because you're not gonna have to respawn after every death and then walk back to the fight and then look for that fight, right? But those kind of modes are good for practice. Also, if your team is being toxic, just mute them, report them, move on. Not worth dealing with toxicity. Just not worth it. Just have zero tolerance for this. Instantly block, report, and move on. Just not worth it. But yeah, this is gonna be it for this stream. I don't know when the next VOD review stream will be. Because I have a lot of videos that I want to work on. I also want to be playing the game to keep my skill, right? Stay good. I feel like I have been playing less than I want to, but I also feel like I don't really have time to play. That is unfortunate, right? Because I want to play to be able to compete in top 500. It's tough, right? I also play on high latency in top 500, so that makes it even tougher. But then I also have content that I want to make, I have the community that I want to interact with. So it's been hard to manage time, but usually I will be doing at least one VOD review stream per week, right? Thanks, Joseph. I'm glad to hear that. And with that being said, that's gonna be it for this stream. What are my thoughts on Genji nerfs? I'm not gonna enter that right now. I'm just gonna say that I feel like Blizzard should not be doing these changes. If you want more information on the Genji nerfs, I would recommend you to check my post I did on the balance change. I replied to a lot of people talking about the nerfs, so you can probably get a little bit of an idea there. Also, I talked a little bit about it on my Discord, and I'm gonna talk more about it after I do the math for the new breakpoints. I want to have an in-depth discussion about that. Alrighty. Have a good one, everyone. I'll be seeing you all in the next time. Bye bye.